Hello there, welcome back to the shed. Sorry I took a break, I've been busy, but I think this one has been worth it. So I'd like to kind of show you guys what my plan is. Parts I have, how I'm planning on implementing it. There's definitely some challenges with doing this particular swap, which I'll go into in some more detail. And probably going to do the video a little bit differently too. More vlogging update, maybe some time lapse. I'm kind of playing with different camera gear now. I'm getting more camera gear to hopefully make better quality videos so that the 20 people that follow this channel will actually focus. But also it motivates me because I like sharing what I'm doing, and I'm not doing this to try and be famous. It's just fun. So that's kind of the whole point of cars, is they should be fun. If they're not fun, then go take up basket weaving or yodeling or something, or whatever's fun for you. But engine swapping Volvos is fun for me, so I'm going to show you how I plan to do this one. This is my 1983 Volvo 242. Like all the Volvo guys, everyone wants the two-door coupe. This one's all mine. Rust-free and hopefully a perfect base to start the build of what will be my dream car. Two-door Volvo with a turbocharged all-aluminum 5-cylinder power plant. When this car was built in '83, it had a 2.1 liter single car rated 3-speed automatic 4-cylinder. Not exactly a performance beast. I'm hoping to triple the horsepower this car came with, along with a few other aesthetic upgrades and things to make it handle and stop better as well. No point in having a nice shiny classic if you're just going to wrap it around a tree. The motor's from a 850R, which when stock came with about 230 horsepower. I'm planning on doing a few internal engine upgrades as well as bigger turbocharger and engine management to hopefully get me in the 350 to 400 horsepower range. The transmission is going to be a Borg-Warner world-class T5 from a Ford Mustang with a D-Works adapter and a Volvo 960 bell housing. A lot of 960 parts are actually going into this build, as it's the only white block engine that came in a rear-wheel drive configuration. The oil pan has been cut and shortened, along with the engine mounts and a few other accessory brackets and coolant hoses are all being used to set it up for rear-wheel drive. So, goals for this car, because it's always good to have goals. You should have at least one goal, the goal to have a working driving car at the end of it. My goals with this car, I want AC. I want it to be quiet when it needs to be and loud when it doesn't need to be. 400 horsepower at the crank, thereabouts. You know, we might knock that number down, but I do have rods and stuff to put in this motor. And probably the turbo that will do it. So decent looking from the outside. I mean, I have, you know, some 80s period correct parts, some nice wheels. I'd like to lower it a little bit, make it handle decent, make it stop decent. I don't want 400 horsepower and crappy brakes, because then your nice fancy car is just going to hit the pole that much harder or understeer into a ditch because you cheaped out on the tires on it or something like that. So all those things to make it a whole package I want to address, and not just focus on the engine. The engine is, in a way, kind of the focus, but I don't want it to overshadow the rest of the car. I want everything to kind of work in unison and, you know, not be terrible to drive, because I've built and driven some cars that, yeah, they might have a sick motor or something in them, but you know, they dump all their cash into it and the rest of the car just can't keep up, and then you're constantly spending money trying to keep up. And it's way cheaper and easier if you just do it right the first time. And yeah, it might cost a little more, but buy once, cry once, right? You know, so there's really no point in having a bajillion horsepower if you have terrible suspension setup. So interior wise, I want to keep it stock, as close to stock as I can, kind of pay tribute to, you know, the 80s design, as it were. A few little tasteful upgrades, comfort upgrades, but that's really it. Like, nothing killer, trend setting. I'm not doing a tube front. I'm not doing some crazy suspension setup. Maybe airbags, but I'm still looking into that. Probably just some nice coilovers. You know, as a driver's car, you know, I think coilovers are the way to go. You can disagree on that if you want, but yeah, that's my plan so far, and I don't want to change it too much because it's easy to go down the road of you start buying stuff for a car and then you keep researching stuff for that car and finding better stuff for that car, and then your car never gets finished and you just have a bunch of better and better parts. So I've fallen victim to that before, as I'm sure a lot of people have too. So kind of buy your parts, pick your goal, do it, and then refine it later.
It's important to remember that this hobby's supposed to be fun. It's way too easy to fall victim to try and impress everyone on the internet. I've done it. A lot of people I know have. You just keep buying parts, thinking it's going to be this crazy build, and before you know it, you're overwhelmed and you don't even know where you should start. I've tried to pick the parts for this one carefully, slow down, do my research, only buy what I need to hopefully end up with a finished product that isn't overwhelming and also isn't too expensive, because at the end of the day, every hobby costs money. This one's no exception. These cars are over 40 years old now, and with 40 years of age comes 40 years of problems. Whether you're the first owner or the 10th owner, you're going to find issues, and when you're doing a project like this, it's kind of a bit ridiculous when you look back at it. And you stand back and look at, oh, I'm going to put 400 horsepower in a 40-year-old car. Like, who thinks that's a good idea? Car guys think it's a good idea, and I enjoy this kind of a challenge. So in the interest of honing my skills and occupying my spare time, I guess, this is what I'm gonna do. Should be fun.
Hopefully that gives you guys a little bit of insight into what I'm planning with this car. If there's anything else you'd like to see me cover or focus on as I'm doing it, let me know. I think it's going to be challenging, to say the least, but I'm looking forward to working on it. It's, like I said, something I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I've had a bunch of people hounding me about it, and I've kind of been working on getting my proverbial ducks in a row, as it were, to put aside a decent chunk of time to do this, because everyone knows there's nothing worse than getting started on a project and then finding out you mismanaged your time or underestimated time or expense, and end up having to abandon it when you're halfway through it, and then you have a bunch of expensive parts and nothing to show for it except a pile of expensive parts that don't work. So hopefully I'm done buying most of the expensive parts and we can just focus on the fab. This isn't a complicated swap in the grand scheme of things. What I mean by that is it's been done before. It's quite common in Sweden and Europe, where there's quite a good following for these engines. It's not something you see as much in North America, but it has been done before, so I'm by no means the first. I won't put that title on myself. I might be the first that's trying to do it with working AC and a bunch of other little things that I'm just doing for the sake that I'm being picky and dumb. But it's my dream car, and I want my dream car to be comfortable as well as fun. So yeah, stay tuned for more updates, and until then, thanks for watching. So I want to apologize if I'm kind of trying out some new stuff here, and like you're seeing me talk at the camera more and a bunch of other things. I've got some new camera gear. and I'm just trying it out. So just seeing what works, what doesn't. If you want to see more of me, less of me, more of the car, less of the car, less talking, more talking, let me know. I'm still trying to figure this out. Also, this thing is like, it's quite heavy, and I guess I'm gonna just have to do more bench presses or something, or figure out a better system, because this camera setup is not cheap, and I'm kind of worried about dropping it. But yeah, I think should be a good one. I want to work on some different filming techniques, and also work on my fabrication techniques. So hopefully they can both kind of grow at the same time and make something that's worth watching.